Great. So welcome you all to Target Professional Consult. Great. The intervention class, day 1, and first lecture video. First of all, my name is Fred, or you can call me Target. Good. Take you through the intervention for January 2021 examination. First, let's go straight to basic principles that we should know before we sit for the paper. Now, examination not just start in the examination room, though. It's before and during, good, and possibly after. The after becomes the event after examination period. Good. So basically that is. Now let's go straight to the room. The paper is financial reporting, planning, and analysis. So financial reporting, planning, and analysis. That's the title of our paper. Please, if you don't get something to like, kindly let me know so that you gain the full benefits or the full picture of the class. Good. Okay, so that's financial reporting, planning, and analysis. So when the questions are being given to you, what are the do's and then the don'ts of the examination questions? So assuming that you're writing a paper and then they've placed the paper there, what do? That's what we're going to look like here. So first, all what you have to do is please go through all the requirements. For your paper, you will have question 1A and B, 20 marks compulsory. Question 2 on standards, another 20 marks, but all of them are 20. Question 3, question 4, question 5, and question probably 6. Question 6. Good. Now, out of these 7, but in all this on 2 in 1, so making 7, you answer 5, or you answer question 1 and any other 3. In this, you select 3 out of this. The 3 questions must be selected here. Good. That means 2 must be rejected. You select 3 and then you reject what? 2. Good. So assuming they've placed the paper here like this, you pick it. Good. As soon as this just ended paper, you pick it like this. First, go through the requirements. Kindly please go through the requirements. This we have 15 minutes to go through. 15 minutes reading time and 3 hours working time. 15 minutes reading time and 3 hours working time. So use the 15 minutes. Please, there's no thinking time. 0 minute for thinking. So that means you don't need to think in exams. 0 minutes for thinking. No time has been allocated for thinking. So we don't think in exams. No. We only provide solution. As soon as you stop work and start thinking, then for more than 5 minutes, that means you are getting close to the danger. Yes, it's likely that cannot be successful. That's the issue. So please, when I give the question to you, read all the requirements one after the other and rearrange them according to your strength. You are going to answer 5 topics. So please and please again, these 5 topics, go there with your best 3. So 3 of the questions must be formed. 3 of the questions are your best 3, are the sure banker own. All what you have to do is this: go through all these questions and select the best in order. So let's assume that after going through all, I'll start with question 6, the corporate governance. I can only do the A and then the B. 5 marks here and 8 marks here. The C, I have no idea. So I'll get 0. I'll arrange it this way. From there, the next one I can do is the investment appraiser. It is the investment appraiser. So let's do question 3. That's what I can do best from the question what? From question 6. So I can do question 3. And that one I can only do the C. A, B, and then C. C is for 10 marks. That's what I can do. I'll go to probably question 4. Yes, in that order. Then the next question, maybe question 2. Okay. So you've gone through and you know the section. Now this section is very critical. So this is your section. Now these ones are what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 11 the compulsory. So select any of these 3. So that means the last one will be the question 1, A, and then B. So I'll put it in. Now I have my 5 sets of questions here. That's what we do. No matter what, question 1 is compulsory. So that one you have to make sure that you do it. It's an optional section. Now when you have your list like this, please call this one target. Yes. That's your target. Or your plan. And please stick to the plan, irrespective of the issue. Stick to the plan. Okay. So what you have to do is this. Kindly sum all those that you can do up for the 5 questions. If you sum them up, if you are getting 45 up to 55, it means that there is a danger. If care is not taken, you might not be able to sail through. But it's far better for you to know it ahead of time before you start the paper, so that you can put all your maximum bets to it and then to kill it. If you know that, in fact, you're not going to be successful, like it will ginger you to move on fast. Now, if you happen that you get let's say 40 up to 44, just call the invigilator and ask him that if he has any idea about the next sittings arrangements, including next sittings fee, next sittings examination fee, and then you calculate next sitting. But Fred is saying that still, even if it's 40, there's a way that you can do to get close to the accounting boundary that you can pass. So it means that even if you get 40 up to 44, still there must be a way for us to pass. What is the technique, and then what is the plan? So the plan is that first, these ones that you add up and you had, let's say, the 45 marks, kindly allocate time. So use, let's say, 2 hours to get that 45 marks. How do you do it? Go straight to the point where you are okay. So assuming that in that period you are starting the paper, you go straight to your best one, question 6. So you start your question 6. Question 6A, you do it. So A, the next page B, and leave enough space for the C. Then move on. Your next question is question 3. That one to leave enough space for A and B and come and do what? The C. Then move on. Then question 4 and question 1B in that order. So within 2 hours, at least we are done with what we can do. Level 45 marks. That's what we can do. So that the remaining parts that you have no idea. Now one later, level 1 hour. So we can use 1 hour. We just hunt for 7 marks. Hunt for 7 marks. Using 1 hour to hunt for 7 marks. Adding it to this 752. That's a gentle pass, which is far better than failing. Good. So that's the strategy. So the whole 1 hour, you are securing what? 7 marks, or if possible, 10 marks, 7 up to 10 marks, and that is the game. So the question is, how do you then, in the last minute, the 1 hour period, how do you secure this 7? Look at the strategy. Pick the question paper like this. Go to the portal, maybe it was question 6C. Go to question 6C, then it like this. If you see any figure there, any figure in the question is accounting, write it in. Copy all the figures again and permit them. Yes. Try as if you are dividing, you are adding, you are subtracting. Don't divide, don't multiply. Try as if you are what? Adding, subtracting with their name correctly written. So in that sentence, and please, in that case, do not read it as a whole. The question is that now you don't understand. And you're reading everything together and solve it together. No. When typing, they do type all together. It was one after the other, line by line. So in that case, take your time, break the question down, read it line by line, and pay attention to and if you see anywhere, treat whatever is here first before I come and then treat this before you combine them. If you see full stop, you have to stop. And then good. Great. So to hunt for the marks, with the question paper, any figure that you see, kindly carry it. So if you have written the cost of a plant, right? Cost of a plant. Maybe 20,000. Bring it line by line. Don't read everything. You have to read line by line. The next line they said, okay, they will use it for 5 years. So useful life. Maybe 20 years. Immediately, what are you going to use it for? If you have cost and useful life, maybe depreciation is calling you. The depreciation per year. It's like you're hunting for marks. You don't know what you are doing, but you have to pass the paper. If you have no idea, that's a particular question. You have no idea. You've not seen it before. So long as the speaker inside the question, you have to pass it. Once the speaker inside the question, bring it. So depreciation will be 20,000, maybe divided by 20 years. I'll put the answer. That's what 1,000 per year. Perfect. So this is what you do. Maybe there's another question again, or there's another sentence, line by line, any figure, write a name. After that, try as if you are doing some calculation, getting towards the requirement. That is all. It's a ticks. So get some ticks in the correct one. Something's correct, and then you are done. So it's the ticks that we are looking for, not the final answer. So that within an hour, at least you have for 7 marks somewhere and put them in. Please, if you go to the exams, go there with your own calculator. Go there with your own calculator. Please, every question, maximum of 30 minutes. Stop and move on. Maximum of what? 30 minutes and then move on. every person, maximum of 30 minutes. Stop and then move on. Okay, then you are done. So at the end of the day, you have 30 minutes to go through them. That is all. So assuming that you have a question, maybe a footnote that you are looking for, where you have no idea. Once you see figure there, title it, bring the figure, and then you will score. At least tick at the various section, putting them together, then you add them. So that is the strategy that we are going to use in the exams. First, I'll look out for all what I know first. Please, in exams. And then also in battlefield, we attack the weakest one first. At least do what you can first. Then you will now start on those that you have no idea. Then you start hunting for marks. Any figure you see in the question, can you bring it? Any figure you see in the question, bring it with their name. Please, no shortcuts. And write it clear. Because here we are hunting for marks. So we have to write it well and then no shortcuts. So this will be the strategy. So we are done. So we will pick the first set of the question I'm going to look out for. Good. Today we're going to look out for preparation of financial statements. That is today's agenda at the intervention. How to prepare a set of financial statements under the exam condition. So preparation of financial statements. Preparation of financial statements. That is the agenda for the day. That is the agenda for the day. Okay, good. So let's look at that. So as usual, one day, one topic, one day, one. Everything about that topic, we should know it. And kindly take the questions that we are going to look at for practical. Yeah, a bit practice them. They are carefully selected. So kindly practice them for me. Now, if you take a final account of every organization, final account comprises of the following 5 financial statements. We should know how to prepare all these financial statements. So first, final account comprises of, but I've written the 3 bills. Once write composition, I'm still writing 3 bills. Yes, that's where the 3 bills have done some of us, the currency. So I'll come to the final account. There's a question here that, okay, so how do you hunt the mark? Which figures are you talking about? Okay, how do you hunt? So if you want to hunt the marks, assuming there's a question that you are solving, any question at all that if required, let's say we are doing final accounts. We are doing final accounts. So hunting for marks simple means a section that you left it that you cannot do. Come back to that section. When you come back to that section, maybe it was question 6C, which was for 5 marks that you have no idea. So you didn't tackle it. 5 solid marks, you have no idea. If there are figures in that question, clap for the examiner and then move on. How do you hunt if there are figures? First, those figures will not be just written like 20,000. No, they'll have a name. They bought something, they incurred this, they paid this. So once they have a name, start. So, see, first item, That one, read sentence by sentence. If you see full stop, stop. Don't read everything. No, you don't understand. Good. So using final account as an example, the way I'll come to do, assuming there's a footnote that you don't understand, you left that footnote idle, you didn't touch it. Don't worry, come back. So that note, you have no idea. So I'll project the final account we're going to use today. Then you see what we are talking about. Great. So let's look at this question. So assuming that we are using the final account, for instance, so let's assume that there's a note that you have no idea on how to go by that note. So for instance, let's take this note. So note 4. Company uses fair value model of IS40. Fair value model of investment property as at December. Okay, so all right, fair value at the end of reporting period as at 31st December 2019 is 8.92. If I have no idea on how to solve it, first, they say fair value of the investment property at the end of 31st December 2019. So I'll go to the solution and provide some notes as if I'm coming to do something proper. No, I'm coming to hand for maths. So I write the investment property, maybe note 6. My working is number 6. If I know that I can't solve the question, all the notes, I'll hand for maths. I write the investment property. So that means that note is about investment property. I saw fair value at the end of the year, so I write fair value at the end. The figure. So I'll go and pick the figure and write it down. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do. I don't know what I'm doing. 8.92. So 8.90. That's 8,090. Good. And try to see if I can get 8 counterparts. Anywhere at all I see investor property again, I'll go and bring it. So I'll check again in that trial balance if I see investment property. Because once they say investment property, I'll check again anywhere. If I check the trial balance, I can see investment property also here. 8,700. Perfect. Okay. So, all right. Trial balance, fair trial balance. Because I have no idea. Fair trial balance. I'm hunting for maximum. 8,700. Okay. Then if these two, like the permutation, when they give me two figures and they are the same, one is in the color, one is in the footnote, then they require difference. I'll find a difference. This one is for 220. That's all. I'm done. I can't do anything again. I'll move on to the same note too, line by line. Have you seen? I'll go in there. I don't know where to send this figure. I'll not even send it. I'll not move again. I'll continue with the note. However, rental income of 0.3 million on the investment property has not been received, but the company reasonably expect to receive 75%. Oh, they have not received 0.3. Okay. So rental income not received. 3, this is 0.3, so that means 300. I'll read the 3 down. And then expected amount to be received. Expected amount, this is 75%. Open my bracket, 75% times 300. 225. Put the answer down. I will not continue again. I will not even, in fact, I've picked all the figures. I don't know where to treat it. I have no idea. But I'm hunting for marks. Once I see figure in the note, I have to touch it and use it. So that is it. If we don't do anything at all, not the figures in that note, just be bringing them. That's all. At least all of these are what ticks. Kindly number 8, investment property, note 6, because workings number 6. So at least this one be for you, for you, for you. This one is for you. 3 ticks, so you have no idea about it. Earn yourself 3 ticks here. You have no idea. Once there's figure in it, come the examiner. Pick that figure. Now line by line, oh, when they say, oh, it's 300, I mean I wrote it to. I came again. They said they will receive 75%. I did the 75%. Have you seen? So even if they go further again, I'll do this. When they move, I move. When they stop, I stop. And I'm done. So this is how you hunt for the marks. You can hunt it anywhere at all, anywhere. Unfortunately for us, the theory section, hunting for it is a bit difficult. That one, either you deviate totally. No. So take notes of that. So this is what we will do in terms of hunting for marks. But before you do this, make sure that all the notes that you can do correctly, you've done them before you come and then do this. Because it can happen that you get only one. They will pick only one, the rest off. And this now I've done it. No shortcut. Write them in order like this. And then you hunt it nicely. Good. But please, not you. You there, you are going to go through the system one after the other. So you'll be fine with a lot of stuff. So hunting for marks is for those who have no idea, or any note that you have no idea about. So perform some workings, bring it for 6 purposes. Okay. So now let me put a note here and ask you how to hunt for a marks. So something like this. The entire note 7. How do you hunt for marks there? Pay maximum attention to what? Full stop. Pay maximum attention to full stop. So how do you hunt for marks? Question like this. You have no idea. You have no idea. So I'll start. They say the corporate tax provision for 2018, 2 million. Okay, I'll go as usual. It's about tax. I've seen some tax there. So once about tax, I have no idea, but I'll solve it. No idea. So write here tax. It's a corporate tax provision, so write it. No shortcut. Corporate tax provision. 3,000. I'll bring my list in here. I brought in currency. I'll go again. $2 million, but an amount of 2.5 has now been agreed as a final assessment for 2018 tax liability. I have to summarize that sentence. So which one should I put? Agreed as the final assessment. So I'll pick final assessment for 2018, 2.5. So final assessment 2018, 2.5. So right here, final assessment. So 2.5. Like this. It will shock you that what we said you have no idea. By the time the market, in fact, it even makes sense than the person that have a full idea. Yes, that examination. You should not have full idea before you solve the question. Now, if there's a full stop, I'll stop. So let's see. In full during the year, showing a travel balance, but there's a full stop here, so I'll stop. So that means I have to do something. Once there's a full stop, either I have to find a difference or I have to add them. Either I have to find a difference or I have to add them. So I'll do permutation. Right? In one scenario, I'll add them and get 4,500. In other scenario, I'll subtract them and get the difference. If I look at this, I'll probably subtract and get what? 500. And leave it. I'm done because that's a sentence. Full stop. I bring the full stop here. But there's a full stop. That's a sentence. Then start another sentence again. So they said, corporate tax provision for 2019, 4 million. Another full stop. See you, full stop. I'll start another sentence again. The corporate tax provision for 2019, 4,000. Another full stop. Yes. I'll continue again. Once there's figures in the question, don't need to worry. The accounting base of some assets 10 million, while the tax base is 4 million. As at the year end, the corporate tax is 25%. Wow. Now, if I add it for marks, you have to catch every figure. Don't that one, if you are deviating, you deviate fully. Yes. Because you're hunting for marks. If you are scoring, you score fully. So you bring two figures, either you add them and multiply by this 25, or you find a difference and multiply by this 25. That's all. So this is how you hunt for the marks. So when marking, what you have to do is you actually be note 7. It's about tax. Currently, underline it. Don't do this. No heading. No. If you write without heading, it's not correct hunting for marks. Because we don't know, we can't focus what you are doing. What are you doing? Like write, okay, income tax. Okay, so underline it. Maybe working number 6. This is all what I can do. The remaining figures, there were 2. So I write accounting base. I write the figure. Tax base. I write the figure. Either I'll add them. I'll add the 2 together. So I'll get 24,000. If you add the 2 together, then we're supposed to find the difference. The examiner might assume that probably your calculator gave you wrong answer. Yes. So empty, then you get it. Good. So this is how you hunt for the marks. So hunting for the marks is so straightforward, especially if there are figures in the question. If there are no figures in the question, that one there is a bit troublesome. Yes. That one either you deviate totally or you can still move in line. Great. So hunt for note 5 for me. This hunting for marks, note 5. Hunting for marks, note 5. Good. So someone said let's go up and go and pick the receivable figure. Okay. So receivable figure is what? Trade receivable, 9,200. So this is the receivable figure. So how do you then hunt for the marks? Assume you have no idea. You went question that you have no idea of examinations, you have a fair idea about them. So this is the receivable figure. Good. So with this first, so this one like this, right? Trade receivable. So trade receivable. Or I write bad debt. Underline it as a working. Now pay the trial balance. The trade receivable is what? 9,200. You have to give me a tick for that. Number 2, customer declared bankrupt. So customer declared bankrupt. Line by line though. You don't need to jump. Customer was declared bankrupt. That one came first before the percentage. So I'll pick the, I think 1.8, so that's 1,800. Okay. If your customer has become bankrupt, okay, will it increase the receivable or to reduce it? It may reduce it. So one time, let me subtract. Or let me add. I'll pen them. I'll leave it add empty like this. Yes. And find the difference. So I'll leave it empty and find the difference. I will subtract. Then you get something like, so 9,200 plus 1,000 give us the 8,000. 8,200. So that will give us 7,400. Something like this. Now move on. And I say we should strike what? 20% of receivable. So will it be on this figure or this figure? Okay, what I'm doing, then it must be on the adjusted figure. So our strike on adjusted figure. So they say provision into bracket 20% times 7,400. Okay, I put the answer in here. I'm done. That's all what I can do. I cannot post it anywhere. I can't send it anywhere. I'm done. This is all what I can do. At least mark the entries for me. I guess I'm trade text over there correctly. I will move on again. It's 1,200, right? Okay. So the figure here is 1,200. So 1,200. So let me do what? That's 8,000. And I'll strike the 20% on the 8,000. It will surprise you that if you follow line by line, figure by figure, don't read all at a go. No, it will confuse you. Already we have no idea. And you're going to read everything together. No, line by line, figure by figure. And you quote it. If it relates to a figure in a trial balance, go and bring that one first in a trial balance. And tell the examiner for a trial balance. Code the name. Don't do any workings with that heading. Good. So provision, they say 20%. Now here, either it will be on this trade receivable or the net of the this. Okay, well, once I've adjusted it, I'll put it on the adjusted. So times 8,000. So 20% on 8,000 will give us 1,006. I'll bring it here. I'll continue again to hand for marks. Either I'll add back, get 9,600, or I'll subtract and get 6,400. I'm done. I'll continue again. I'll not even post it. I've shown the workings here. Because I don't know where I'm posting it. I have no idea. But I can assemble the figures nicely in order for them, line by line. I can assemble the figures for them line by line. If I get this, in fact, naturally, this one is correct, this one is correct, this one is correct, this one is correct, this one is wrong. So if getting this one wrong, at least 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks. I'll not even send it to the financial position. Or if I go to the financial position, I'll send this 9,600 to the financial position, 9,600. Even though it's wrong, at least I've done some workings on it. So hunting for marks should be part of the game. Yes, it's allowed in exams. Good. Because sometimes the final answer is very difficult to get the final answer. Very difficult. So put some few calculation there. Some of them will be correct, some of them will be wrong. Perfect. So this is how you hunt for the marks. So within 1 hour, go to sections that you left empty spaces, fill those potholes. Yes. I mean in order, vertical, no double, vertical. Some you are adding, some you are subtracting. But sometimes you don't show it on the face that you are subtracting your lesson. But you perform some calculation here. Good. So that is it. So that's perfect. So in hunting for marks, where you have no idea, not at all, no idea, arrange all the figures in here. If you have idea, now you can solve it. If you do have idea how to treat it, you can solve it. Some of them too, you do have idea, but not perfect. On and off. You can't remember exactly how we are going to do it. Still, hunt for the marks there, and then you are done. So let's kickstart the game. The main agenda for the day. The main agenda for the day. So these exams comprise of what you know and what you don't know, but you have to pass. So first, final account or the financial statement comprise of the financial statement preparation. There are 5 financial statements that we should know how to prepare them. Number 1, comprehensive income. Comprehensive income. Number 2, changes in equity. Number 3, financial position. Then 4, cash flow. Then number 5, yes, the note to account. For the purpose of your examination, these are the workings. Now, the first 3 is one set going for 20 marks. The last one is on its own. The cash flow, the fourth one, is also going for 20 marks. So here alone, you can get 2 strong questions from here alone. Each of them is on their own. So you should know how to prepare financial statements. Good. For financial reporting, you cannot write financial reporting paper without this section, no matter what. At least one of these should be there. And that's what you're going to look at for, how to respond to them. Good. So we'll go through how to prepare the comprehensive income and the changes in equity and the financial position, and then scan through cash flows. Good. So let's start the game. So we look at last attempt question. There are 3 questions there. Look at question 2. Zamsi Limited. So that's what we are going to look out for. Perfect. So Zamsi, that's last attempt one. So let's see. Before you start, kindly read the requirement again and be sure that yes, that's the question I say you answer at the 3rd position. So first, go by this approach. RATs or the RAFs. RAT simple means before you answer any question, please and please again, read the requirement first. Go to the requirement. Why do you have to read the requirement first? To avoid deviation. Some people tell you that for cash flow, I'll never answer cash flow. For ratios, I'll never answer ratios. This one, I'll not do it. Don't even waste your time to read the entire now. Then go to the requirement. It's the one that you say you not do. You spend 2 minutes to read it. I could have used it for a different calculation to earn a tick or 2. Within 2 minutes, you can hunt for figures like maybe 3 or 4 right there. Okay. So that is it. Good. Now you read the requirement to stimulate your appetite. Yes, yourselves. If the question is about, let's say, requires a formula, right after the requirement, you remember the formula. If it's comprehensive income, okay, comprehensive income, okay, that format, I'll start from sales. And at profit after tax or comprehensive income. Okay, it will remind you. But if you start reading question, trial balance or a redraft, sometimes you see trial balance, it's not only for financial report, it's not for profit and loss. Sometimes for extended trial balance or for errors that they want you to correct it for them. So not all trial balance. Or if you see a financial statement prepared there, it's not for cash flow, it can also be for ratios. So be sure that you are in a mood to solve cash flow. You are in a mood to solve ratio before you go and read it. So that's why you have to read the requirements first. To avoid deviation, Time is not there. Yes. Then from there, go to additional information. Additional information here, read it 2 times. First, very fast. In the first round, you identify 2 items. Area that will affect, and then the impact. That's all. So write it small against the footnote right after reading. That's not where you're going to solve it. No, don't need to solve it 2 times. It's a waste of time. Read it first. Okay, area that will affect. So to affect, let's say, cost of sales, small one against it. And inventory. Okay, so note 1, affect cost of sales and inventory, small with a pencil or pen. Go to note 2, read it fast. Oh, this one, you have to go to operating expenses and PPE schedule. Okay, so because of depreciation. Go to note 3. Oh, this one to affect dividend, to affect changes in equity. Some of the notes will affect a lot of items. Some of the notes too are pregnant. They have about 2 to 3 issues in that particular note. Take your time and each of the issues tell us where to go. Don't jump any of them, line by line. If you see full stop, you have to stop. Comma, rest for a while and come back again. And try to do whatever before going to do the one after the end. Very important. So this is how you scan through the footnote for the first time. Second time, you are come to solve it. So that's why you are come to solve. So now if you are come to solve it, so now they are not reading. You are now come to solve slowly, line by line. Okay, so the closing inventory had the NRV of 200,000. So NRV of 200,000. Okay, I'll compare to the cost. Then I'll go and compare. If you decrease, it will affect cost of sales. Then go to cost of sales. That is all. So that is what we will do to scan through the additional information. Perfect. So scan through here. In fact, when I was redrafting this principle, I posted a strong warning that until all the footnote is read, each of the footnote go through. No figure should be stated in the financial statement. No figure. If I have not gone through all the footnotes, don't pick any figure comfortably and say that this figure there, there's no footnote attached to it. So if you have not gone through all the footnotes, don't say that this figure is real, so you are just carrying its remarks. No. Until you scan through, those that you will notify, some of them know that yes, it will affect. So after you've gone through all the footnotes, some of the figures they will never mention. You won't see them in the footnote. They are those that are free. So that one they are free. So pick them. So after picking them, and then you are basically you are done. Perfect. So take note of that. Then we go to the trial balance or the financial statement. So either RAF or RAT. So that's the main principle before you solve the question. Trial balance or the financial statement. What are you going to use it for? You are scanning. You are scanning the trial balance for 2 items. So I have usual or normal items, and then unfamiliar or unusual item. There are only 2 items in the trial balance. Items that you are aware of. You've treated that item before. That's are the items that you will see in the trial balance. So this one leads to another concept that I'll not mention it here of our time. Now, the normal or the usual items move on. For instance, sales revenue, cost of sales, PPE, closing inventory, receivable, cash balances. All these one, they are usual items. Unless they change their position. Good. Then go to the unusual. We normally call them shock or surprise. But if you are the one that solve a lot of questions, none of the items will be new or will be unusual for you. Why? Because you solve a lot of items, a lot of questions, so you are aware of most of the figures. So it will not be unusual for you. Okay. So after scanning through, then we now start the work. Then you start. When you go through this, now you have the requirements to avoid deviation. You have the footnotes to know the items that need or needed adjustments. You scan to the trial balance to know the items that you are familiar with, items that you are not too sure. Now, the items that you are not too sure, I stated in a principle that use 30 minutes. Spend what? Sorry, 30 seconds, not minutes. 30 seconds to make a decision. So, 30 seconds. Make a decision, quick one, in a trial balance. So in a trial balance, make a decision, quick one. Either the item will be at debit side or credit side. You have not made that item before, but they place in the trial balance. You have to treat it. In fact, the item in the trial balance, clap for the examiner, if there are many. Because if you know where to go ahead and put it there. It's part of what? Enhancing. Good. If the item is at debit side, either the item will be an asset or an expense. That is all. Asset or expense. You knowing that this item is an asset, you knowing that this item is an asset or expenses will give you an indication where to treat it. Good. If this item have a credit balance, then if it is no revenue, it will be income, or it will be a liability or equity. Good. So that is it. So if it's at the credit side, if no revenue, it will be income or liability or equity. You knowing that this item related to liability or revenue will give you an idea. For instance, item that you've not heard before. If not heard before. Like rent receivable. Rent receivable. Rent that you are going to receive. It's at the credit side. I've not seen. All I know is rent that we are paying, not rent that we are receiving. So now we are what? Landlords, right? It's at the credit side. So it's no revenue. It's an income or liability or equity. Rent receivable. Something that we are yet to receive. Is it revenue or is an income? It relates to revenue and income. So other income. Is it a liability? No. Something that we have to receive. It's not a liability. Liability we have to pay. Okay. Equity? No. So it's about income. I record it under income. So basically, that is how you go by. Perfect. So when you're done with everything, then you start the game. So this is the structure that I'm going to use to go by that of this particular question. Good. And then there's a question here. Let's go and pick the question. Good. So we will scan through the principle. We said that rat or RAF. Read the requirement first. Before you solve any question, make sure you go to the requirement. Go to the additional information. Try scanning to the trial balance. RAT. It is also the same as RAFs. Because some of the questions they'll give you financial statements. If it's a cash flow, they'll not give you trial balance, they'll give you a financial statement. So that's the main reason. I call it what? Right and then rough. Good. So it is the principle. Great. Okay. Now let's kickstart the game. So the question that we are coming to solve, we are going to assume that it's an exam. So if it's an exam, this is my exam question paper. This is the exam question paper here. Good. So you open it. I'll go straight. I've demarcated all the questions that I'll solve. I've arranged it within the reading time in order. So I've reached final account. So I want to solve the final account. The question that we are solving is the last sentence own. So if you have the hard copy of the last sentence, you can still move with us. Good. So we'll go straight to the requirements. So let's go to the requirements. So what is the question itself? So that's the question 2, ZAMC. So ZAMC, you go to question 2. I'll go to the requirements. You are required to draft the following financial statement for the managing director of ZAMC Limited in compliance with the Companies Act 2019 Act 992 and the International Financial Reporting Standard. Let me explain something like this. When they ask us to prepare the financial statement in accordance with the Companies Act, they are not asking us for extra requirements. They are asking us for us to, or they're just telling us the authority, the source of authority. The issue is that with the financial statement, they are enshrined in the Companies Act. So Companies Act 2019, Act what? 992. They are enshrined in the Act. They've stated clearly that every company must prepare a financial statement at least once a year. And they have prescribed the kind of financial statement you should prepare in the Act. So we preparing this financial statement is in the Act. So in simple quotes, the Act gives us the legal backing, legal power to prepare the financial statement. It does not require you to do any extra thing, no. 2, the IFRSs will tell us the specific treatment. You see some of the standards in it mean inventory, PPE. So when I mention the IFRS, they're just asking you make sure that you treat them correctly according to the IFRSs. That's all. So if you see the examiner quoting this for you, it's not something new or something extra. It's what we are preparing. Because all the items that you are going to prepare, there's a specific standard that talks about it. So if you take P&L, if you take sales revenue, specific standards. So if you meet it, make sure you are there to the standards, and then you get it. Good. Okay. Now, sometimes we will tell you prepare in a form suitable for publication. It's also the same. Prepare in a form suitable for what? Publication. So in simple code, it means that after the exams, when you pick your script, we can publish it in a newspaper. That is a financial statement prepared by this consulting firm. So if you see your financial statement that you did in the exams, when you publish it, you'll be happy. That's what we are looking for. So present something that when you publish it, you will not look at it, you close your eyes or as looking, on looking, and then watch one side. No. That's the meaning of in a form suitable for publication. So if you see that phrase also there, that's the meaning. All of them, we are looking for the standard format or the approach given to us by the IAS1. IAS1 prescribed the format. Good. So that is it. Okay, so let's continue the game. The following financial statements. Statement of comprehensive income for the year ended December 31st, 2019. Prepare statements in Statement of changes in equity for the year ended December 2019. Prepare statement of financial position as at December 2019. Good. So that is it. Then what do you do next? So as soon as you read the requirement, please set the tone for the requirement. Set the tone for the requirement. So how do you set the tone? I will open all the requirements that they're asking me. First, I'll open all the requirements. So this is what we will do. Open all the requirements. So I'm just assuming that is my answer booklet. So I'll come straight and write it will be question 1A or just question 1 on top. A. The name of the company, there are three protocols. There are three protocols. You have to adhere to them. The name of the company, the requirement, and the reporting currency. We have to get them right. First, the name of the company, so Zamsi. So Zamsi Limited. Good. So Zamsi Limited. Then the requirements. The first one is a comprehensive income. Statement of what? Comprehensive income. So I start. Statement of comprehensive income for the year ending or ended, for the year ending or ended. But let me end it. Year ended December. So December 31st, 2019. Immediately analyze the reporting year. It ends at December, the normal one. So that means they will start at January, the same year, 2019. So always, so that you know that anytime the examiner quotes date again, you relate it and see whether it's half year, mid-year, 6 months, 3 months, 4 months. So you can apportion the time very well. If you don't be sensitive to the date, you might get it wrong. Please and please again, for financial reporting, be sensitive to date. Anytime they mention date, stop and react to it and see and be fine before you move on. So you are done. You're supposed to analyze it too, ideally. You're reporting currency. Check the question whether they've raised 3 zeros. Good. Whether they've raised 3 zeros. Perfect. So you check the reporting currency. So you go to the trial balance on top of it. The currencies are in thousands. As they've written it here, the same thing you have to do. You need only one. So currency. One like this. You are done. So for the profit or loss or the comprehensive income. And I'll go to the next page. So you know that the entire page is for P&L. Write it down. Then go to the next page. P&L maximum should take 13 lines. Maximum 13 lines. Maximum 13 lines. So first page, demarcate it for it. Go to the next page. Then the next requirement, changes in equity, right? Good. So I'll go to the next page. Maybe here. So right here B. And then right here, still Zamzi Limited. So Zamzi Limited. And after the examiner, that statement of changes in equity for the year ended December 31st, 2019. This is what I expect you to do. When I give you the question, you have drawn your plan. You've reached the turn of final account. This is what you have to do. Now I leave it. You come to it. Then you go to the next page. Leave the entire page. Go to the next page. And write C there. The next page. So imagine that is my next page. And write a C. So Zamzi Limited. Zamzi Limited. Line it. Statement of what? Changes. Statement of financial position. Not change them. You don't need it already. Statement of financial position. As at December 31st, 2019. Align it. So the reporting currency, 3 zeros, like this. That's the first thing you have to do. So right after the requirement, use 2 minutes to do this. So after reading the requirement, 2 solid minutes. If you're able to do this, you score yourself at least 2 marks of the 20 marks. Why? Because if you end here, you get at least 8 ticks out of that of 9. So this one is yours. This one too is yours. This one is yours. This is yours. This one too is yours. Then making 5. That's another 3. 1, 2, and then 1, 3. Good. Then you are done. Perfect. So basically, that is what you do. Then, when you're done, go to the question again. Pick the question. You are done with the requirement. So right after the requirement, set the tone. Unless you are not going to do that question, don't even set the tone. Then go to the footnote, one after the other. But sometimes the footnotes start from the top. So we will move from the top. So I'll project again, then we look at it. Let's go to the footnote. The footnote starts from the top. So, question 2. The managing director of Zamzi Limited, a retail business, showed up at a branch of your bank and submitted company's trial balance, which had been extracted from the company's records. The managing director of Zamzi Bank Limited is exploring feasibility of obtaining a bank facility from your bank to expand the company's operation. Below is the trial balance. I'll not scan now. I'll go to the footnote first. Additional information, note 1. So the trial balance, the first time you are reading it fast. You are going to identify what item will it affect and what item it will not affect. Perfect. So that's what you are going to identify. Which item will affect, which item it will not affect. So let's start with note 1. It says that the company has authorized shares of 8 million ordinary shares of no par value. The value did not come. So in the final material I'll add the value and then send it. And then when everything is done, so of no par value. Yes, because Ghana our shares does not have a par value. Okay. Out of which 3 million have been issued. Is it this year or when? Okay, they didn't state it. So not this year. If this year, they will tell us, has been issued for 1.5 million. It's supposed to be 1.5 billion cash consideration. Full stop. When you see full stop, what do you have to do? Stop. So now this figure, it means that that company, the highest number of shares that they can issue is what? 8 million. Out of it, they've issued 3 million for 1.5. Go to the trial balance. If you see this 1.5 million there, that means they've recorded it. Let's go to the trial balance. Share capital, that's the 1.5 million that you see there. But here they've raised 3 zeros already. So it must be a billion over there. So because this figure is 1.5 billion, not million, if you include the zeros there. So take note of that. So now once it's there, it means that it has been recorded. They have recorded that 1.5 million. So you do nothing. You will not touch it again. No. They have not issued these shares this year. They've issued long ago. You are preparing the financial statement for this year, not for that last year that they've issued the shares. No. So you do not touch it. Unless maybe they inform you that they've issued additional ones this year. Out of the 8 million, they've issued 3 million already. But this year, further 1 million was issued for this amount. Then you have to record the additional ones. If it has not been recorded, perfect. Then we are done. So you have identified the area that will affect. So you tell the examiner, no impact. It will not affect any part. So the first sentence will not affect any area. Please, like I said, analyze the sentence by sentence. If you see full stop, stop. This question, they did not type all the notes at the go, one after the other. So the same way you're solving it, you have to also solve it one after the other. Okay, good. So we can move on to the next sentence. So that means all these figures, you don't need it. But please, overflow information is allowed. So if you are here, if you are hunting total deviation, it will not even appear. You don't need these figures. So if you are doing hunting, here they will catch us. That the hunting game will not work. Now let's go to the second sentence. The value, no, not the value, in fact, the value rather came here. The directors of the company propose a final dividend. Propose, the same as declared. A final dividend of 5 Ghana cedis per share on 15th February 2020. Now let's go to the board. They have proposed a dividend after the year end 2020. A final dividend of what? 5 Ghana cedis per share. 15th February 2020. We said that be sensitive to what? Date. So let's go to the board. When are you preparing the financial statement? 31st December 2019. So if we are preparing a financial statement for 31st December 2019, and they have proposed a dividend, this is the December ending. This dividend was proposed when? February 2020. Good. So February 2020, 15th. So how do you treat that such event? So February 15th, 2020. they've declared a dividend. Any transaction that will take place after 31st December our reporting period, we call it event after reporting period. So we call it event after what? Reporting period. So that is it. And such events are two: adjusting and non-adjusting. Specifically, dividend. Any dividend paid after the year end or dividend declared. If you declare a dividend here, yeah, it is non-adjusting event. Why? Because as at 31st December, nothing suggests that we owe dividend. So as a result of that, there's no evidence that we are owing dividend as at 31st December. So therefore, it is what? Non-adjusting event. So in short, anywhere you see dividend that they have declared after the year end, it is non-adjusting event. Then we are done. Non-adjusting event. Good. So with the non-adjusting event, you do nothing. So non-adjusting. So don't even adjust it. You do what? Nothing. You don't need to touch it. So irrespective of how they quote it, once they declared it after the year end, and they'll tell you that, oh, it has not been recorded, don't even touch it at all. Perfect. So the second sentence, do you do nothing? Wow. So this one is an intentional game. All the items in there, we don't need any of them. This one, all this. So you do as if this note is not part of the game. The dividend paid after the year end, we like it. So please take note of that. Kindly take note. So you don't need to touch any figure coming from this note. So if you are hunting, yes, once you are hunting, you get some of them correct, some of them too wrong, because that's why you are hunting. The hunt is far, far better than leaving it what? Empty. So the hunt. Continue hunting for marks. Now let's go to note 2. Note 2 stated that inventory as at 31st December 2019 was valued at 50 million, comma, I'll relax. Inventory as at 31st December, is that the open or closing inventory? So that is the closing inventory because last date, be sensitive to date. 31st December 2019, that's the last day of the year. So that's the closing inventory. Good. So now they are saying the closing inventory was valued at what? 50 million. Now, as soon as they give the closing inventory in the footnote, then it means that it is the open inventory which has been stated in the trial balance. And once they've stated the open inventory in the trial balance, they'll give you purchases in there. Good. Now let's continue the game. Including obsolete inventories amounting to 10% of the total value, which should be written off. For this examiner is very good though. He has informed us that these goods or this figure include some goods that are obsolete or out of date, which amount to 10% of the total inventory. What's the total inventory? 50 million. So 10% of 50 million, which is 5 million, which should be written off. So you say it should be written off. So we have to write it off. So it means that after the write-off, the right inventory figure must be the NRV. So it means the right closing inventory figure must be after the write-off. Good. So you find 10% of it, then you subtract. Then you treat that 10% as what? As part of the cost of sales, if cost of sales have been given to you. So basically, that is how you treat that note. So first, multiply 90% by that of 50 million. And that will give us 45,000 or 45 million. And when you go to the financial position, when you're looking for inventory under the current asset, it's still stand at 45,000. Good. So that's the end of this particular note. So we look at it into detail when you're in the actual work. So to affect one, the cost of sales and the inventory figure. So let's go to the note 3. Note 3. So the company policy on depreciation of fixed asset is as follows. Okay. Then, note 3. The company's policy on depreciation of fixed assets is as follows. Office equipment, 20% on cost. Delivery vans, 25% on cost. So which of the method are we going to use? On cost means straight line. So on cost means straight line method of what? Depreciation. That is the meaning of on cost. Straight line method of depreciation. That is on cost. Straight line method of depreciation. Then there's a news here. A full year's depreciation is charged on any asset purchased and put into use in the course of the year, whilst there was no depreciation charge on an asset sold in the course of the year. So in simple code, the first time you buy assets, whether you use it for 2 months or even 3, you should include it at full value. Good. So depreciation will be charged on full year basis. Then if you dispose of any assets, that year you don't charge depreciation. Good. Then finally, why do you treat depreciation? First of all, let's look at the calculation. How you are going to calculate the depreciation. So depreciation. Now, the asset that they'll give it to you, that's what you're going to depreciate. So look, you locate where to go. So depreciation will be based, ideally, this is how we should treat the depreciation. Ideally, all depreciation on plant and equipment or plant and machinery. So plant and machinery or equipment, it must be charged to cost of sales in reality. Then building must be charged to admin. Then delivery vans or motor vehicle distribution cost. But for the purpose of our exams, we can now, if they don't tell you where to charge the depreciation, charge it to the operating expenses. Charge all to the operating expenses. So that is all. If you don't tell us specific section we should treat, charge it to what? Operating expenses. So when I go to operating expenses for this particular question, I will bring the depreciation among the list of the expenses. Then next, I'll do like this. You can call the assets. Here, the only two assets that they ask me to depreciate. So office equipment and delivery van. So I'll record just their name. So after recording just their name, then again, you scan through the footnote again. Some of the assets that you have written them here, they will have a further note. So that means that asset is not free. For instance, some of the assets will have a further note. Either they are going to buy new or they are going to sell some of the assets or they are going to do what? Revalue. So three items. So first you check through the footnote and see whether if not mention office equipment again or delivery van again in the footnote. So let's check. So after note 3, if you go to note 4, just note 4, they've mentioned office equipment there. So it tells me that the office equipment is not free. So the one which is free, you calculate it. The delivery van is free. There was no footnote affecting the delivery van. So you go straight forward and go and pick the cost in the trial balance. So the cost in the trial balance for that of delivery van is what? So delivery vans, 800,000. So I'll come depreciation of, I can do delivery van. So 800,000 times 25%. And that'll give us the 2 million or the 200,000. Then keep that in. And so if you read the further note that talks about the office equipment, you cannot charge the depreciation here. Yes, to know whether to require some level of what adjustment. Okay. Now let's continue with the scanning through. So we're now with the depreciation. So in this question, the very first one, office equipment, is the office equipment. There's a note attached to it, so that one is not free. So it is the delivery van, which is what? Free. So you pick it and then you calculate the depreciation first before. So we are done with that particular note. So now let's go to note 4. Okay. Now let's go to note 4. It said during the year or during the period under review, so during this year, an office equipment purchased on September 2015 for 5 million was sold for 1.5 million. On 1st April 2019, which was within the year, so they sold it this year, April. This transaction is not reflected in the trial balance above. Perfect. This one talks about disposal. So when you go to disposal, how do you treat that note? Let's see. Let's go to the board. For every disposal, there are 3 steps. That is all. 3. So if the question suggests that the company have disposed of assets, or if so some of the PPE, how do you go by? There are 3 steps. Step 1, if they sell the PPE, they will by all means generate some inflow or cash. We call it proceeds. So anytime they sell the PPE, whatever they receive, we call it proceeds. So the proceeds must be added to that of the cash. So add the proceeds. Add the proceeds to the cash. Add the proceeds to the cash. That's the first step. Yes, because you get money after you sell the assets. Step number 2, calculate the profit or loss on disposal. Profit or loss on disposal. If it's a profit, it goes to other income. Profit goes to what? Other income. Loss goes to operating expenses. You are done. Okay. Now, how do you calculate the profit or loss on disposal? Is the proceeds so much less the current amount, see, so much, then you get a profit or loss on disposal. So that's the step 2 that we have to do anytime there's disposal. Then the final step, you have to remove the details of the disposed asset from the pool. Because if I have, let's say, 2 different assets, so let's say there are 3. I have 3 items here. And then I decided to probably dispose of 1. So at the end of the day, left with 2. I have to report on the 2 that are in existence. So the details of the one that I dispose of should be removed from the pool to get the remaining ones. So it's a remover or cancellation of the details of the disposed assets. Good. So that is it. Now these are the steps that we have to go through when they dispose of assets. Now, sometimes the examiner will try to work around it. We'll try to work on other ones for you. So he will always try and work the first step for you, either correctly or wrongly. If it is wrong, reverse it and then do the right thing. Or if you see any other treatment which is not in line with these 3 steps, no, you have to reverse it. So for instance, we will tell you that, okay, we sold the asset, we realized 2,000. And this is how we have treated the 2,000. We have debited the cash. Oh yes, they've added to cash, that's good. And credited cost of sales. Wow, we don't have cost of sales here. So they have credited cost of sales. So that means you have to reverse it. So we have to go and then add back to the cost of sales. But they have subtracted. That is it. Then we will do the right thing. For the profit and loss and removal, no examiner do that. You have to know that. How to calculate the profit and loss on disposal. That's for publication, especially the comprehensive income. So you take note. So that's the step. So it means that this one, have they recorded it or they've not recorded it at all? So that we are doing everything afresh. So check the question Examiner said, this transaction is not reflected in a trial balance given above. So the trial balance has not been what? Reflected with the above, So that means they've not recorded anything. So first, go to the trial balance. If you see a cash there, where is the cash? If you see cash or bank, all the two are there. Cash in hand, 13,000. So pick the 13,000. Then you add 1,005 to it, the proceeds. So you get 14,500. So the cash balance should be 14,500. Perfect. Should be 14,500. Okay. So that would be the end of the first note. Unfortunately for us, this is how far the good Lord will bring us for that of the first section. So the second section will continue after 6 p.m. Exactly 6 p.m. Please kindly join.